All right, good morning. It's a brand new day. Don't you love brand new? Something good and kind of exciting about just what that means, really, right? Lots of good things to get involved with, and uh, yesterday's yesterday, today's new. It's really healthy. Just to kind of think in terms of that. Had a great night last night. Went over to a good friend of mine's house and hung out, chatted about life, did a little Zoom call, kind of a webinar for ULA, and spoke to a lot of people around the country just about balance and growth and life. And it was good. It was just fun. I love chatting about things that I'm passionate about, and life happens to be one of those things I'm pretty passionate about. So it was good. It was a good day, good night, and so looking forward to that. I think tonight I'm gonna watch my grandson play some flag football. So kind of excited about that. That's part of life, right? And so nothing like a good little road trip up to see some good flag football. So planning on doing that today and enjoying life as it relates to that. So listen, we're in the book of First Timothy and moving along. We're in chapter 3. This is where we talk about the qualities of good leaders and what it means to be a good pastor. And if there's ever a need for that, it's today. We have too many people that are calling themselves pastors and filling churches that are really just a sideshow. It's a distraction to the things that God is deeply seeking to do. And what's needed is more men who understand and have the mind of Christ, untainted by the things of the world, that can speak into it. And the older I get, the more I find the value in that, and my mind wanders that way. I look for people who aren't just preaching faddish stuff, that are grounded in truth and can speak it into the world in a way that's relevant. And so passionate about that. So Paul, talking to his young protege Timothy, who he left in Ephesus, says, "Hey man, that church is kind of a wreck. Let's see if we can't fix it." And so that's what he's about doing. And so he's saying, first of all, we got to clear the clutter. We got to get rid of all the strange doctrines, all the stuff that's a distraction, all of these people that are creeping in, trying to steer things away from a God-centered faith in Christ alone. So he said, I'm going to get rid of those. Then second thing, I want you to know how to conduct yourselves in the house of worship. And so I want men to come in not in anger and not in dispute. I want holy hands. I want men with holy hands. I want them coming in. I want them praying evangelistically that God would save sinners. That's his specialty. And that we would be about that we would pray for God to open hearts. And he says, then I want the women not to focus on all the external trappings and all of that. Quit trying to position yourself to look as wealthy as you can, or quit trying to position yourself to allure men away. This is not the place for that. When you come to worship, women, I want you to fulfill your God-given role. I want you to be heavily involved in the ministry, but you're not to have that area of leadership. God says, I've reserved that for men over the total church. Not that there aren't women in leadership in so many areas, and I've got some that are incredible leaders that I know. So just in case you hadn't heard the whole message, I don't want you to take this away and say, well, Randy's ranting against women. Not so. But there's a place, there's a role, and I don't deny that. That's what God says. This is not me. This is what God says. Now, then we move into this. Is now I want godly leaders. So this is what men, if you're going to put them in leadership, don't just grab a man. There's some qualities to it. Those guys that have a desire for that and they feel called to that, look at them, see if they're qualified. Let's examine them in light of what a good godly leader is, and that's where we find ourselves. So here's where we are. He says, here is a trustworthy saying, chapter 3, verse 1, whoever aspires to the office of overseer. We talked about an overseer. That is a bishop. That word is used in some of the languages there. It's a pastor and a bishop and an elder. Interchangeable words. Same. It's an office. An elder means bearded one who's spiritually mature. A bishop or a overseer is one who kind of guards. He's a guardian. He's a gatekeeper in that sense. And so they oversee. It's kind of like a father figure. They oversee what's going on. And shepherd is the third one. It is one who leads and feeds. And so this is who that elder is. And he says, when you find one, look for these qualities. And he says they should be above reproach. That is, that they have a character of such on epilambano, that the world, they're Teflon. You can't bring an accusation against them that will stick, right? So now today there's a lot of pastors you can bring an accusation against, and it's kind of like we have in everywhere. Nobody cares, right? You can just elect anybody you want to these days. Nobody cares about class, character, integrity. And the pulpit, it can be the same way. And so that's to the shame, really, of God's kingdom and how men run that. But an overseer is to be above reproach. That is, that there's no character flaw that is such a habitual, glaring thing that it's all people see, right? When they look at that man, is there this glaring thing that you go, oh man, that thing is? It's like when you have a pimple on your face or whatever, and it feels like it's just like like blinking for everybody to see. Is there anything character in that man's life that's just blinking and it makes you go, wait, he's a good guy, but, right? There shouldn't be the good guy, but. I listened to Nick Saban the other day. He was talking about character. And he said, when we go recruiting and you listen and you say, well, the guy can do this. His speed is this. His abilities are that. He can play these positions. He's utilitarian in this, that, and the other. And he's got a 4.0 average, and he's does community service and this, that, and the other. That, and he says, is crucial. What you don't want is the same guy, the same qualities, speed is this, agility is that, his vertical leap is, he's got all these things, but he's, really kind of a D student. He's been in and out of some juvie deals and things like that. And so you're looking for someone that you don't add the but to. Hey, he's a great pastor, but, right? That's the kind of thing that he's talking about when it says above reproach. Then he moves into this, and here's where we looked yesterday, and we'll just hit it again. Faithful to his wife, husband of one wife. We talked in terms of what it was not. It was not railing against polygamy. It was not really railing against divorce in the sense of when it's in its confines. It's a character issue because the definite article is missing. It implies character, not a certain certain standard, I guess. It's a character issue. So when he says one woman man, what he's saying is the man is wholly devoted to his wife. That's what you're looking for. So you can have a man who's been married to one woman his whole life, and they don't even look like they're in love. He doesn't even look like he really, like they live two separate lives kind of a thing. And it could be that they have no relationship, that he's a terrible husband. But the wife's not going to say those things. And so what we're looking for is someone who's wholly devoted to his wife. You see that he is fulfilling 1 Peter, where he lives with his wife in an understanding way, as with the weaker vessel, that he submits to her needs, that he lines up under her, and he sacrifices for her, according to what Ephesians will say about that he should sacrifice for her, just as Christ sacrificed for the church, and he should cherish her, and he should love her. Right? This is who you're looking for, a man who's wholly devoted to his wife. And so that's kind of a big quality that he's looking at in this whole deal. Now, then he moves into some other aspects of it, and we're just kind of walk through those. So we find a man who's above reproach, that he's got all these qualities and this, not all these qualities, but he's got these flaws. His general character is he's well put together. So when you look at his marriage, you go, man, that guy's wholly devoted to his wife. That's a crucial piece. Then he says, an overseer must be the husband of one wife, temperate. That's our word, temperate. Nephlitos. It means to be sober. Now, it does imply the alcohol aspect, but he's going to speak about that later, not given to drunkenness. So he's not using the word exclusively in the sense of he doesn't drink. he means it in the sense that his life he's sober, right? That's what that means. And you know the difference between being drunk and sober, right? That when you're drunk, man, your mind is loose. There's for some there's no restraint. That restraint filter's gone, and you're just saying things that you shouldn't say. You're thinking things you shouldn't think. You're going places you shouldn't go. So the word temperate means that he's sober. He's vigilant, right? That he's alert. He's free from negative influences. That's the best way to put that. One who's temperate. One who's not temperate, I guess we look at it that way, then they're not free from negative influences, right? Someone who's drunk, someone who's not sober can tend to be led into all kind of foolishness. Why? Because they've lost control of themselves. Something else is controlling their faculties. And so the person who's temperate, the elder who's temperate, he's clear-minded. He doesn't have, he's not looking through a set of lens that's unhealthy. He has a good outlook on life. He's clear-minded. He's not got these biases and this baggage that he's still dealing with, so that he reacts from his baggage in his past. That stuff's been dealt with. He's clear-minded. He's temperate. He's not drunk on his past. He's not drunk on other issues. He's not stammering because of these things. But those things have been dealt with. He's temperate. He's clear-minded. He's free from life-dominating influences. Does that make sense? So certain things can dominate a person's life, right? And it's usually a weakness of some sort, a character flaw, and then it begins to define the person. And so he's saying this one is not defined by that. So he's temperate. Now, doesn't mean docile. It just means that he's sober. He's clear-minded. I mean, it's a powerful term, and you know it when you see it in people's lives. This temperance that there is. Then he goes. So it's balanced, right? That's kind of what it is. His life is balanced. He's not unhinged in that sense. Now, and it's likened to the next word, which is self-control. I'm not sure what version you're reading out of. I'm trying to look at all of them. So temperate, self-control, both New American Standard, NIV, both use that term. So we'll stick with that. I guess in keeping with temperate, it's one whose vessel is he's useful to the master, right? He doesn't bring a worldly bent. He's uncontrolled by anything other than Jesus. These are the thoughts that I think we need to see when we see someone who's temperate. Then he moves into the word self-control. Now that's the word sophrona. We get the word diaphragm from that. It's let me give you the longer deal. It's just a healthy inner outlook. He's healthy interior, so that his outlook, there's this self-controlled. It's very similar to temperate, but there's enough nuances that we should look at it. So the diaphragm, you know what that does, right? It regulates breathing, right? That's what that does, and so it really, the term then becomes not just a diaphragm is something that regulates our breathing, so it is a regulator. He maintains a kind of a designated characteristic. He's steady. That's a good way of saying it. A regulator makes sure that things stay regular, right? That's what it does. You put a regulator on a motor, and it makes sure that things are clicking at a constant speed. You put a regulator on water, it adjusts things. So if it's coming in out of a well fast, it slows it down. If it's not, it speeds it up. It just keeps things regular. And so there's this steadiness, right? There's this his Philippians 4:8 comes to mind. He thinks on good things. There's this steadiness. Whatever's lovely, whatever's pure, whatever's good report, he thinks on those things. His words, he doesn't let unwholesome words come forth out of his mouth, but only the kind of words that will be right for the moment, so that he may edify those. That's a regulator. So his speech is regulated. It's regulated by several things. In fact, that's what the scriptures speak of in Ephesians when he says, put off the old man and put on the new. That the Holy Spirit is that regulator. So in a sense, we can say that he's the one who's self-controlled is actually spirit-controlled. He's not in control, but the Spirit is in control, regulating what happens. So that the words that may you in your rash reaction may want to say something demeaning. You pause long enough to regulate what's coming out so that it's wholesome and healthy. This is what it is. So it's that way in your actions. It's that way. So you may tend to in your rashness want to ball your hand into a fist, but you're regulated, and so you go, no, I'm not doing that. There's no fight here. We're going to have a discussion. See how this works? This is what you're looking for in a godly man. Self-control. Their actions, their thoughts, their words, they're all controlled. Then we move into the word respectable. All right. Now that's an interesting word too, because it's you would think when somebody who's respectable means that people like them, that people give them respect, or you could think, well, it means that they're respectful to other people. But the word really, as we look at it, is the word cosmion. Its root word is cosmos, which means order. It's where we get our word for the world, right? That it's ordered. Things are revolving at a normal, natural pace. There's order to it. It's not chaotic. The moon isn't kind of just doing a dance, but it's walking around. And so, well, we say that, but that's how it operates. It kind of revolves around the sun. The earth does as well, and yet there's no collision. It's organized. It's well ordered. So you're looking for a man then whose life isn't chaotic. He's very strategic in what he does, and so there is he's respectable, meaning that there's just order. Hardly any way to really talk about it other than that. That means there's an attractional quality about that. When you have a man who's ordered, his life's not chaotic. Sometimes I like to look at these terms from the negative aspect because it helps me see more in terms of what the good is. But so when we look at this respectable, we mean that he's one who's not chaotic, whose life doesn't look like, man, I don't even know what's going on with this guy. I can't keep up. There's something about chaos that creates an uneasiness in us. And so we like, not predictable's kind of a mundane word where that sounds boring, but predictable. Like you can count on this guy giving you good advice. He's not going to shoot from the hip. He's not going to, he's not a Jekyll and Hyde. There's just this steady character so that you respect him. And you go, man, I respect him, right? So I respect what he says. I respect how he thinks. I respect how he acts. I respect how he cares for himself. That's why that word respect comes in there. So these are the qualities. We're going to keep looking at some of these. I'm going to stop there. Tomorrow we'll look at what it means to be hospitable. He's able to teach. He's not given to drunkenness. We'll look at those. But for now, man, these are good qualities, aren't they? Listen, and this for all you ladies, for all of us men, for all you men who aren't a pastor, these are qualities that we really, I think, would want in our own life. So you can take stock in these things and just look at yourself and go, hey, man, how do I measure up in that area? All right? Man, Lord bless you guys. What a great day to start just looking at the Word and looking at qualities. It gives us something to shoot for, gives us something to examine in our life. It will help us grow in our own life as human beings. And so excited about journeying with you in these Word studies. So, man, I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy it. You never know if you got another one coming. So what you got right now, let's just enjoy. And let's find the joy in the moment. And Lord willing, I'll see you in the morning.